Welcome to WeeklyWed from Business School of AI. I am Yashaswini Vishwanath, and you can call me Yash. I'm the host for WeeklyWed. I'm coming from Bangalore, India, and I would like to know where you're all coming from. So please put them in the chat. I would like to get to know you. And so this month, September month, we have the learning pathway to AI, where if you're breaking into AI or advancing in AI, we would like to enable the audience to go ahead with their learnings. And today we have Billy Aldea Martins, who will be talking about the propensity models for churn and subscriber. Billy is a former student of Sudha, and Billy is joining us from Amsterdam. And Billy is from Piano Software, which is an analytics platform to understand customer behavior. And we have the machine learning models that he'll be explaining to us today. And hi, Billy. Welcome to WeeklyWed. So WeeklyWed is our happy place to share, learn, and discuss everything about emerging technologies. And today we have a nice audience lined up to hear about your story. So first of all, I would like to ask you, how did your career pivot to AI ML? How did you start off with this? And we would like to hear your journey first, and then move on to your the learnings that you want to tell us.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much to you and Sudha and all the supporting team for organizing this WeeklyWed, and that I've attended a few, and for inviting me so I can share my contribution in the industry. But as per your question, I've always worked in technology. I've always been on the cutting edge of learning new things because it is the new normal in our career, like adapting and learning and testing new things before they actually become the flavor of the month. And at the moment, AI is becoming flavor of the month and is yet to, peak. So our company, I wish I could say, I pivoted it intentionally, but really our company 3 years ago launched some propensity model algorithms. And since I'm a client-facing person, as we always are a company that's growing, it was something that then I started talking to my clients about, and it seemed to get a lot of people's interest because our competition and other firms weren't doing that. It was like a new hot subject. It wasn't a commodity. It was like something new. So about a year ago, or maybe less, I did the course with Sudha, where I go, all right, look, this is interesting. I want to learn more about it. And, by investing that time in the course, it really opened up my mind. I really, like, all the pieces fell into place. And really, I've spent more time on it. It's made me a lot more successful in the company. And we're even marketing it more aggressively now to the marketplace as a key point of differentiation, because everyone's talking about data, and data is beautiful. We're collecting data through all these, like, Internet of Things. And but now the people are trying to put it into, one silo. But all right, cool, what next? All right, you can analyze things, but like, how do you now use that to, predict behavior, to understand what people are doing? And what we do in our companies really create these conversion funnels and help our customers basically treat all the digital audiences differently. And that's pretty much my career at the moment. Now, and I'll go through the presentation a little bit later on. We're very strong in one sector, and now we want to import that value proposition to other sectors. And I've volunteered my company to lead that charge, which, some people think it's suicidal, but I like to try new things. And I think it's the way the way the industry is going is AI is impacting every part of our life. So Either you're ahead and benefit from it, or you're going to be reacting to it and possibly losing out to it if you're a company or an executive. You need to now be understanding this. That's my story so far.
Thank you, Billy. Really nice to hear that. And Billy, so what have you brought for us today?
Okay, what have I brought for you? I'm going to basically talk about a use case, right? I'm not an engineer. I'm more entrepreneurial or more commercial, but this is important too, because at the end of the day, you're building machine learning algorithms to deliver a business benefit, right? You have to at least. So I put together a presentation on how we've managed to commercialize it, because it's going to give other people that are interested in understanding the use cases that give direct return on investment for either companies internally, or for if you're a vendor, how you're going to deliver this value to your customer if you're not doing it. Now, our company didn't start off as an AI company. We're evolving. I wouldn't say we are yet completely, but we're evolving there, because we're lucky enough that we're a platform play, and that means that we're collecting and centralizing the data for our customers, and we're delivering that as a software, as a license to them, so they don't have to build. I like to use a terminology: you don't have to build a car, you just rent the car from us to get to where you want to be, which is for the end user, which is the customer, the enterprise that pays for the license. What they get in return is they make more money. They sell whatever they're selling more. Yes. So I got a little presentation. I don't want to bore people, so we want to keep this dynamic. So if anyone has any questions, any doubts, it doesn't make sense, or you want to want me to go deeper, please feel free to interject and ask away. So without further ado, I am now going to share my presentation. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfecto. All right. So it's about sales propensity models, because we're collecting data as people, like all businesses today has a digital presence, and in one way or another, they're also like delivering experiences to the customer when they go into a store, when they're interacting with their phone, when they're buying something, when they're investigating something, like researching something. These are all key data points that are an opportunity for companies to collect that data and to create these behavioral models, these segments, these cohorts. So first of all, this is like one of our videos that explains it very succinctly what we do. So please don't take it as a corporate pitch. It is a corporate pitch for our customers, but I just want to walk you through our thinking and the use case. And this is what our customers listen. And this is how we explain AI, what it means to them, without complicating and getting into the weeds about the algorithms, the feature, the data sources, the predictive model, the ranking, right? This is customers at the end of the day want to hear, if I give you X, what is this going to do for me? Why should I invest in a company in licensing for a company that has machine learning versus a not? And this is a beautiful video that we created to explain it to our customers, our prospects, that I think really positions Piano very well. Is everyone, can you guys hear it well? Yes?
We have this vision at Piano for how we can help our clients and how we can really change things in terms of how media companies are able to achieve their goals, how any company is able to understand how users move through relationships with brands and products, and deepen those relationships. LTX is Piano's new machine learning framework, likelihood to act. And that act could be anything. Could be become a subscriber, could be sign up for a newsletter, so that you can understand at each point along the way how that user is behaving and what behaviors are most likely to deliver the action that you're trying to drive. LTS really changes the game for media companies. Instead of having a fixed paywall, now you can have a one-to-one personalized paywall that targets each user based on their full spectrum of user behavior and opens up a bunch of different models for how you're going to control access and what you're going to offer to whom. bringing machine learning into the product in a meaningful way. It's something we've thought about and talked about for a long time, and now it's here.
Billy,
Yes.
so I'm a technical lead here in Bangalore. I work for
Yes.
a software firm and I'm pursuing my master's in AI. The main thing that enthused me and made me come for this talk with a very open mind is that propensity is a case study that's generally taken in our master's course,
Mm-hmm.
the propensity to churn, and that's a use case that generally they use. And I always thought it was a toy example. I
Mm-hmm.
always thought it is something that they have come up with to teach us machine learning, something that they have come up with to teach us the nonsenses of doing things. But to see that you have built a business around it, and that you're having a plan and you have customers for that, that really shows that how we can take the case studies that we learn in school and how do we make products out of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very important learning that I got from the video that you were showing me.
Yes, I think it's a great video that explains it in very simple terms, what it means, to a potential prospect that is going to either hire and build their own propensity model or hire a software vendor to do that. And really that's our play. Our play is like, we started off as a platform company. Well, we really started off as a, technology solution, right? And as we solved one problem, we realized that the problem we solved them had some flow-on effects in other parts of the business. And we built modules to address that. And as we built it, we're a company that's been around for 11 years now. We ended up becoming a platform play, where then companies also plug in to use us. And what we realized about maybe 5 years ago, maybe it was the vision of our CEO, more than likely that was his play. We realized that we were becoming a centralized data lake, right? And customers didn't have to build infrastructure, didn't have to hire engineers. They would just license the software to achieve the goals. And what we became is a conversion platform. So we would analyze how people interact with a website, and therefore give them a different experience, not treat everyone exactly the same. And that's a really core. Now, we ended up specializing in the media landscape with publishers, as you can see on this slide, all these companies. And they started going, all right, look, I get this. It's easier for me to rent software to then deliver experiences. And those experiences were to, hey, why don't you become a subscriber? And with time, it's like, why don't you, sign up to a newsletter? Because the whole purpose, and we'll see it in a few slides, is for you to sell something to someone. You need to present that offer at the right time to the right audience at the right place with the right offer point in terms of pricing, right? So there's many variables there, because what happened, and we ended up becoming specialists in what we call the paywall, even though we don't like to use that word. We like to use digital subscriptions, and now we're going like, it's propensity to buy. It just was applied in that industry successfully. But yes, like customers, people, it's a very big problem that needs to be solved. Is like, at the end of the day, someone has a URL, a website. The world is built on trade, and we as a company are very conscious. We're a New York-based company. We're very conscious that it's a trade game. How can we make our customers more successful? And by using data and propensity model, we win the game, because we were successful enough to now have over 500 media groups as customers, powering over 4,000 websites. And this talks a little bit about us as a company. We've managed, with that business model, we've managed to raise $88 million in a C round recently. We've got Microsoft, LinkedIn as investors, so they also believe in that vision, that people are going to be hiring propensity models as opposed to building and maintaining them. That's our job, we believe. We're now approaching other sectors, like in finance, in banking, and in travel, both hotel groups, as well as airlines to help them understand the customers well, because everyone's leaving a data trail now. But what do you do with that data trail? You've got to centralize it, and then you've got to be able to interpret it and see and categorize them into different cohorts to see who really wants to be a customer at that time, because the name of the game is not to sell everything to everybody, but to identify someone that's willing to pay for that product now, making that experience a lot easier and nurturing the other cohorts to build more engagement, which will lead to more loyalty, which then leads to a commercial transaction. Does that make sense?
Yes, Billy, it's really nice to know this perspective of how we can take an artificial intelligence case study and the subject and the model and how we can build a product around it. So, Billy, can you tell us more about the machine learning techniques that you have used and the technology that has been used for this? Um, how is the model built? What is
Perfect.
the platform?
Yeah. For starters, what we do is this is what we tell our customers. At the end of the day, the customer wants to sell something. In this case, they're trying to sell subscriptions, and we have to marry that with a few data sets that we collect. Right. For example, they need to have an effective data strategy, because if they don't actually have a data strategy set in place, meaning that the data is spread everywhere, right? First, they need to centralize it in some way, and we've got a lot of. So we've got a few solutions that allows it for us to access legacy data. But our belief is like, get the new data, but if there's certain legacy data in the world of subscriptions, for example, if someone is an active newspaper subscriber, right? That's important data if you've managed to collect it. If you're an airline and they're a frequent flyer, right? And they fly regularly from London to New York, that's important data, right? But so the first thing is like, where is your data and how are you going to like centralize it? And in the world of publishing, it's content, also what articles they're reading. And then also the level of engagement, how engaged they are, because that's also another indicator. And who is that audience? Is it a loyal audience or not a loyal? And that will then trigger subscription, which basically that slide will say. This is the data that we're collecting today, which I'll go back to. I'll actually answer your question about like how the algorithm works. But and I learned this with Sudha's class, right? Like the more data you have, the more powerful the algorithms become. And what we do with our propensity models is that because we're a platform play, we in our contracts with our customers says like the data is yours, but we have the right to analyze it and build algorithms with it, that then those algorithms are exported to a new customer. And because it's machine learning, they then learn with that particular audience, with that particular publisher. And they're like, if I'm gonna just like hop off here. And these are the data sets that, this is the data that we build the features around. So we've got 121 data points that we collect, right? As you can see there, if it's like how active in the day they've been, what type of articles in terms of ranking that we have, how long they spent on your website reading an article, sections also, like someone that spends a lot of time on education versus sports can be good or bad, depending if your website is a sports or an education site. Because if it's a sports site and they spend time reading a lot on education, maybe they're not going to be, it's not that data point is not as relevant. So it also depends on what type of content and that they're producing and where is the value proposition in the marketplace when it comes to content creation. So we collect all of this. Then what we do is we give them a ranking here. So this is actually our internal documentation with the model that we have. So we're trying to collect as much data internally with interaction that someone's having with the website and how often they're coming based on a cookie.
We have a question here, Billy.
Yeah.
We have a question from Honey who is asking us, where does the data come from? Which system does this data come from? How do we collect this data?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So going back here to my slide. So this is basically our business. It's not our business model, but it's the foundation of our corner piece of our business model, where we're a network, we're a platform, right? So as opposed to a publisher going out and building this out of the own, they're only going to have one source of information. If you're the New York Times, you're going to have your 10 million unique visitors, right? Which are going to probably leave about, I'm throwing a number here, 50 million data points. Powerful stuff, right? But if you're a small publisher with only 1 million unique visitors, you don't actually have access to all that data. So what we do as a business is we're aggregating all that data. We deliver, we're a platform place, so we deliver all the engagement except for all the CMS, but we can actually source that directly from the content management system. And we grab all of that and we like feed it into our algorithm. And then we customize it for our customer, right? So I'm just gonna go here. So to answer your question, so we as a company, these are the once again, this is not a pitch, but I'm explaining our business model and the solution that we're solving. So we tell our customers look, what you need to be successful in this is you need to start centralizing all your data. You have two ways of doing that. Continue doing what you're doing with third-party vendors and integrate them and put them into a third-party data lake. Or how about you actually hire us where we will provide you a complete platform from the authentication, from the segmentation, from all the interactions, because even though they're solving a solution like, hey, authenticate, really that authentication process is an opportunity to collect data. At what moment did they authenticate? Where was the source from? Did they come from Google? Were they a returning visitor or are they a loyal user? So all that data is actually being centralized within Piano. Like what offers are being presented. And we do a lot of A/B testing, but the thing that gives us a highly competitive advantage for anyone that's thinking of a similar business model is you need to come up, the data is there, right? You can go there and source it and try to put it together, or the thing is create solutions where you capture all the data and you have 100% control and then you deliver that to your customer. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well, or do you want me to go deeper?
Yes, that was, yes,
Yeah, if
honey,
you
you
allow
can.
me, Yash, yeah. I was actually asking, I mean, this is very impressive, about the actual sources, like how do you know that there has been clicks from this customer in the past 15 days? Like in which kind of system is this data saved?
Yeah, we're in the system that it's saved. We're actually, from my understanding, and I haven't verified it, from is it called a Spark server? So we're collecting that data. That's where we're pushing it now. We're now considering moving to Snowflake, to moving all the data there. But what we've done is we've built apps where we're collecting that, because there are many vendors offering apps like, hey, you want an authentication? There's 20 companies that you want to authenticate a user. Do you want to use a DMP, which is a data management platform, which actually segments users using those cookies or using user IDs into little buckets, right? Do you want to now offer A/B testing? There's other vendors, and what we have done is we've invested in all those functionalities, modules, and put them into a platform similar to an iPhone. We tell our customers, buy an iPhone where you have all the apps there. Why are you going to buy a fax machine? Why are you going to buy a telephone and a camera? Like today, an iPhone is a centralized app machine. And that's our vision of where we think the opportunity is, because a lot in the technology world, people are buying third-party apps, which is basically a fax machine, a telephone, a camera, a game, etc.
Thank you.
Did I answer the question, honey?
Yes. Although I would love maybe to know more details, because it's interesting that every move, I guess, a user makes on a website is being recorded,
Exactly.
or maybe it may be the move of the mouse, the intention to click, and maybe moving the mouse away, I guess it's all being recorded.
At least we do it. Not every company today does this effectively. There is a big move today in the industry, across various industries, to do this. Even Amazon Web Services and even Google Cloud are now offering these, I'm not going to say applications, but more like functionality in the cloud to do so. However, the end user, in this case being the customer, being like the airline or being a publisher, has to go out and wire or put all the plumbing, if that makes sense, and then be able to deliver that and collect the data from their audience. And our thinking is on the next level. How about we come with all the plumbing already sorted out, and all you do is you focus on selling more airline tickets, and that data that you're going to get, which is your data, it's going to give you, but we're going to enrich your data because we've got other airlines doing the same. So our propensity models are a lot more intelligent and smarter than if just with your own data set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Actually, what's interesting is that you're using the industry overall data to benefit each customers of yours, which is really impressive.
Exactly. You know, at first people go like, why am I signing this agreement that, you know, you're going to use and our data to make your algorithms better? And I go, well, you benefit from it. Everybody benefits from it. Like, and that's our core point of differentiation, because when I'm sitting in front of a prospective customer, CDO, and he's going like, you know what? And it's happened to me, you know, they go, I've hired 15 guys to solve this problem. Why am I going to come to you? And I tell them, like, we're a 560 company. We got 300 people working on this. And they go like, okay, interesting. And they obviously go, look, thank you, Billy. It's not of interest. They go like, maybe the timing's not right. And a year and a half later, they go like, knock, knock. We can't get this to work. Our vendors keep changing. If you can see this like value chain, they go like, our authentication provider changed an API. The moment they change that and don't let everybody else know, the whole chain collapses. And then every vendor's pointing at each other. It's this, it's that, and it happens quite regularly. In like our, way that we solve the problems. Go, look, we break things sometimes. We do as a company, right? But when we break something, there's only one person to call, and that's us, and we'll fix it, as opposed to everybody blaming each other, not anyone doing anything. So that's a powerful business case and a value proposition into the market. So if you guys are, in your career are thinking of leading an AI project, think of the business model implications. Just don't think of the business problem that you're solving, but what is the business problem you're solving? There's a company called Databricks that's gonna, it's got a pending IPO, and these guys built the Apache servers back in the day, right? And they've got the Spark servers now that they're building a huge data lake. But we still thinking opportunities. You still need to hire 10, 20 engineers to build your model, to run your model, to maintain your model using third-party vendors. Yes, you put it into the data lake and then you run your algorithms, but that's a lot of work. Like, how about having a propensity model out of the box? And with our customers, after it could be a 2 or 3 months implementation process, but we only need 1 month of data collection. Once we've installed all the data collection sources, then it's just 1 month of data collection using our algorithms already trained. There's obviously people reviewing and validating, but after that, they get humongous increases, about 300%. I've had cases here that we have, and I'll share with you. Once again, this is not a pitch, right? But this goes to show the power of how AI can impact the business, how AI can impact a vendor that is selling an AI solution to the market. We put together a list of 100 of our customers, and the data set that we collected were from like the Forbes, the Fortune, the MITs that are our customers, as well as the smaller guys that, like in Nicaragua, in Spain, in the Nordics. And we said, all right, what is the median? And we see a 346% uplift. Now, the caveat being is that we also wrap that with professional services, because it's not just your algorithm running. You still need to interpret and try to mentally optimize it. And what do I mean? That is the propensity model is identifying each of your behavior on your ability to subscribe or even to churn, meaning that you bought something and you bought a subscription and now you're going to cancel it. That's important for a business. In fact, they believe minimizing churn is more important than increasing sales. So the sales that you do, everyone's focused on sell, 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 like, Netflix, Disney Plus, the New York Times. But what's more important is you've spent money capturing that person, you work out your lifetime value. It's way more important keeping that customer for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. That is more important than the actual capture. So like our algorithm also detects a certain behavior on when they're going to churn. And how do we detect that? Like, are they authenticating? Are they using the app? Are they opening up your newsletters? Are they visiting your Twitter account? And we can detect, all right, this person is going to churn. So the annual subscription or monthly subscription, the publisher can take actions. And what MIT does, which is one of our customers, is the moment you become inactive on the website, they start emailing you recommended content based on a package. Like, hey, Billy, in the past, you've read a lot about, AI and machine learning, right? Hey, here are the top, 10 articles of the month on AI by these professors, but we detect that. We know the content that you're reading and you have read in the past. So when we send out that newsletter, it's customized to you and to you only.
Wonderful, thank you. If I could interject here quickly with a question. I cannot imagine more closely protected data than what these companies have collected. Mm-hmm. And here you are dealing with all these companies wanting to protect their data. Talk a little bit about this, please.
So, we're GDPR compliant, and it's part of our, DPA, data protection, something, I forgot. But the user, so the data is the user, the data belongs to the publisher, but we're able to access that data, and we're able to then we're not using user ID data. We don't know it's you, Henry. We just know it's this tokenized version of what you are. And then we bundle all the people that have a similar behavior as Henry, and we put you into a bucket. Sorry, it just skipped. That's how we handle that. So we're not really like trying to find out who you are. We just want to know your online behavior and put you into a cohort. And then when we see someone that behaves like you, we deliver experiences that have worked for all the other Henrys that have then bought the product, or give them some more content. Like, because we work in the publishing space, if we detect that you look like a subscriber, you should be a subscriber, but you're not there in our ranking from 1 to 10, you're ranking 6 or 7. And in the past, we've delivered a content that relates around sports because you're at a sports site. I'm not going to show you an offer to subscribe. I'm going to show you an offer with another great piece of article that if you did behave like someone that should be a subscriber, it will be blocked. But for you, it's open with the purpose of building engagement and loyalty.
Just to be clear, I'm talking about the actual media company and its data as to the B2B as opposed to the business to consumer. Yeah. In other words, I as Bloomberg, I as The Economist, I as CNBC would be very, of course, concerned with protecting this information that I'm handing over to you and making sure that nobody else gets it. And then,
that information is it lives in piano to start off with, right? So it'd be different if you were surrendering the data that you collected, legacy data. But in this situation, like from a moment ago, we're collecting that data. We're the vendor, we're the data silo, for a better word. And so what we're doing with that data is it's your data. You can, the moment you fire us, ever so often we get a customer that leaves us, like we give you that data. Or some customers actually want to have it replicated on their server. So in real time, we're moving that data across. But what we do is, like, part of our agreement is like we have the rights to analyze it. We don't have the rights to keep it or own it. We just have the rights to analyze it, to build our algorithms.
Very good. I could imagine that you would be eventually standardizing across the media landscape, gathering of data. For example, recommending to another media company, well, this other company is doing this and is proven successful.
And we do that. We're able to go like, and in fact, when we talk to our customers, we ask them, like, what are you trying to achieve? I want to set up a paywall. Why? Because I want to bring in new revenue. All right, how much revenue are you expecting? What are your maths behind it? What are your logic behind it? And then we go, and most of them like, we haven't thought about it too well. I go, well, look, are you interested in getting help around this? And majority of the times they go like, yes. So then we're able to engage with them and start giving them like, we're a data company, so we collect all this data and we go like, exactly what you said, Henry, like, look, the average media organization will convert 1% of their total audience into a paying customer, right? It's a really small number if you think about it, right? When you have a website that's in the millions and millions, but if you think about it, if I only manage to convince 100,000 people out of 1 million, sites, right? That's $10 million in revenue if I sell a subscription around the $100 or $120 a year. That's $10 million. So it's a big play. And our argument, not our argument, our value proposition is like using data and propensity modeling. We're gonna identify that 1% sooner and faster than just locking content for the sake of locking content, like the old metered model, which like after 10 articles registered, after 5 articles, pay for it. Yes, honey.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
It's all right.
talking to somebody next to me.
It's okay.
And then I'll bug out with this last one here.
Go for it, Henry. I like it.
And then the aspect of those companies that are making revenue from advertisers and not subscriptions. And do you just go for the companies that are looking for subscriptions as that is the value proposition, or those advertisers are just looking for viewers, or how is that developing within media companies itself as far as their revenue stream?
So two things. First, we want to get out of media because everyone thinks of us as a subscription company. We're not, right? We're a propensity to buy a company. But where we have been very successful is applying it in the subscription world. So to answer then the second part of your question is, think about it, Mr. Publisher, right? You're going to be like the CEO of Forbes, Henry. So congratulations on your new promotion, right? But all we're trying to do is we don't want to disrupt your advertising business. We want to identify quietly as you are navigating consuming content and seeing banner ads, right? We're building a profile, a cohort of you, right? In just the one visit, we could collect up to 120 pieces of data points just in your first visit, right? What time, IP, what content did you receive? Did you come from? Are you navigating from a desktop, from a mobile phone? What time of the day is it? What zip code are you from? Did you come from Google? Did you come from Twitter, etc.? Right? And in that split second, we're not going to try anything. We're going to first analyze your behavior, and we got Henry should be a subscriber, is not a subscriber. Let's now give him an offer. Let's not lock the content. Let's let him have a good time, right? And then we go like, by the way, Henry, we've got a subscription product just for you. And we can discriminate in a positive way, which is called price discrimination, right? We can discriminate, and actually, we know that you've seen that offer 5 times before. And for FYI, someone has to see an offer 5 times before they convert. 5.5 to be exact. So then on the 6th one, you should convert, and you don't convert. Maybe on the 8th time you see the offer, it's reduced. It's only $1 a month for the next 12 months. Whilst me, I show the behavior on the 6th visit, I see the offer for $100 for the next year. I pull out my card and I pay for it. Right? So it doesn't impact the ad revenue. And in fact, the lifetime value of our advertising user that's not authenticated, and it's not like a subscriber, is about $25 to $50 in the US. The lifetime value using the 1 year window is $120. So even some companies go like, I'm willing to sacrifice my ad revenue for a subscriber, but the conundrum is, how do I do this? And by using propensity model is where you address it. Any other
Billy,
questions? Yes.
I have a question from Adam. So Adam is asking, how do you handle mobile data, desktop, home, desktop, office? So we have multi-source for the
Yes.
same user. How do we capture that data?
Well, with our solution, obviously there's an SDK that as they navigate, they have to update the SDK with our code. So we're able to deliver experiences and treat experiences differently. A mobile phone user has a less likelihood to buy something than a desktop user by about 50%. It's slowly changing, like with Apple Pay, frictionless pay. But the reality is when someone wants to buy something, their behavior tends to be to do online shopping. Unless you're like me, I love Nike. You know, I buy things off my phone. Like I like it. I know my shoe size, bang. There's certain products, right? But generally, like when there's like a first time buy of something, you analyze it. You need to think about it. Like an air ticket, like we're now approaching airlines with this value proposition. And when someone is buying an airline ticket, you know, it depends on majority of the people shop around, right? We want to get the best offer for that time because even if you get too expensive from work, you still have to finance it and then get your money back at the end of the month. So people shop around and try to get the best value. And we see that with desktop, people convert more. So we deliver offers that on desktop, for example, buy now using, you know, PayPal. But on a mobile phone, they'll see the offer is like, we can detect that it's an Android or an iPhone, and we'll present the offer to, if it's with an Android, to with Google Play, and with an iPhone, maybe frictionless payment. So all they do is they put their thumb and the transaction goes through.
Billy, there's one more question.
Sure.
So we have different customers, right? And are there different kinds of propensity models for different customers?
Mhm.
Is there a lookalike model, and what's the next best click model that you're trying to build?
Well, that's a very good question. So let me see if I understand it correctly. So different customers as in terms of different like verticals, like the online behavior of a subscriber versus like someone that's going to buy an airline ticket. Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference in it, but the foundation of it is the engagement and also the frequency. Like, have they been to your site before? If they have, you know, it ranks higher. If they've never, obviously lower, but like, did they come from an offer, like a third-party offer page? Ranks higher. Did they come from Google? Google is a lot of intent. You know, did they come from Facebook? Facebook, we find that has lower intent. So yes, the model has to change and has to learn based on what you're selling. We see that someone that buys a subscription from the Wall Street Journal is very different from someone that buys a subscription from, you know, the New York Times, for example. They're different ways of behavior. We have created, we've analyzed and we created like median, you know, averages. But then each customer, even in the subscription world, even in the US, even the type of our financial newspaper like The Atlantic, there's different behavior.
Billy,
Yes.
we have Nicholas here, and he has a couple of points to say. Nicholas, would you like to go on
On
voice?
record?
And
Yeah, I'd
yes.
love to go on record here. I got my daughter here as well, so let's see if
Right.
this actually
Awesome.
works. But it's super interesting, and you know, Sudha, you actually you know what I was going to ask. It's always about digital twins. So my first question is, you know, is this similar to building customer digital twins? Have you heard of that concept before?
Yes. Yes. We're not applying it in our business. We don't have a reason. I think the key reason being is that we have access to so much data. Like, let me quickly share a quick slide on, because we've been in this caper for 11 years now. Like we have a sea of data. Like today we manage annually 1.15 billion subscriptions. It wasn't like that always, but we're tracking this, and this gives us a good ability that, you know, we're working with live data.
Yeah. No, I think like, of course, it depends on what digital twins are, but I mean, I think that could be interesting. And my second question was, if I remember correctly, you know, because me as a customer, you know, sometimes I want to buy stuff, but it takes forever. Is this only like a, you know, hidden client offering where, you know, propensity to pay, or is actually, you know, also something that actually customers or like portals or companies advertise out that they have, you know, I mean, again, from an outward perspective, for me as a customer, maybe that leads to something that I find faster, if you know what I mean. Because it sounds like when you're talking about this, it's just it's for, you know, the other side, so to say.
Totally, I've got this slide. So this is the way we map our customers. We create these conversion funnels, and this is a really basic version of only 7 cohorts. And we got customers that we've built 50 different cohorts. And at the end of the day, all these cohorts are being driven to complete a sale. But what we want to do in your case is, like, if you look on the left-hand side, is like, you come for the first time. I'm not going to try to sell you something, right? I want to learn about you. So let's look at in an example of which I've been like studying a lot with a Nike store. The first time I come to Nike store, I don't have a user ID, right? I'm not authenticated. And what Nike will do is present automatically, knows that you are an anonymous, never been user. So the content, I don't know if you're a girl, you're a man, you're a woman, you're a boy, or you know, I don't know who you are. However, what I am going to do is I've done some A/B testing, A, B, C, D, E, F testing on see which version do I present to anonymous people that I don't know to build more engagement. So when you arrive, you're going to see the best version of that. And by the way, they are always continuously updating that. They're testing it. And you'll see one. And what we're trying to do is build immediate engagement with you. We want you to just click one more page, right? Now, so I'm going to show you boys, girls, children, everything. But I'm going to show you what's worked at properties with the hot sellers, right? And like I said, they're dynamically always testing which like first experience works. And if we get you, the system learns, right? Yeah. And I give you more recommendation. I'm going to get you to, and at some stage,
if it doesn't get you, you update the model to say, and you know, these kind of things. So that's why these 11 years of having, this is really interesting. And I understand like the advantage basically. So it's not, you know, from the beginning. Yeah, it's really interesting actually. So you created like a beast in a machine that knows this and tries it out, you know, concurrently at any given point in time. And then, you know, it's really cool. It's really interesting.
This beast is always learning, right?
Exactly. Like, that's what I mean, right? So
what worked last month may not work this month. So that's the key thing of the machine learning algorithm. It's learning, it's testing. And you still need humans, right? Because humans still need to make a decision like, hey, are we going to present all black shoes today? No, you know, we just invested, like we just signed off, you know, with Michael Jordan, and we want to test this like new shoe that we gave him $50 million up front. We're going to promote it, right? So there's still humans involved and always reviewing and testing this. But the presentation, the delivery, and the combination as it increases, you know, as it increases, like in exponentially, the machine does it, right? And then comes back and reports this worked, this didn't work.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Billy, this was a very nice and interesting thing. I was really curious on how we will take this case study and build a business around it. And the way you showed about personalization, segmentation, and how we use AI machine learning was really awesome. So we have another 10 minutes, and I would request you to plan it in such a way that you can wrap it up in another 10 minutes.
Okay, let me put my timer on. Actually, 9 minutes now. That's it, really. That's all I can. I think the questions were pretty spot on. I've tried to keep it like to eight slides, and most of this is talking about the problem that we solve to our customers, and I think that's very important. If you're going to go out and build an algorithm, you know, what is the business case, and is someone willing to pay to solve that business case, which is the fundamental part of it all.
All right, then I would ask, where's the low-hanging fruit?
Today, in the propensity modeling, I think there's low-hanging fruit everywhere at the moment. The big guys, let's talk about the Nike, which, you know, for the record is not one of our customers. They are more than likely have 20, 30 people working on this. In my opinion, coming from the vendor world, right? You know, I can go to them and say, like, why are you owning software when you can be renting software? Do you own your factories in China making the shoes? You own the brand. So stick to your core, because we as a company or other vendors can deliver this as a service. So I think the low-hanging fruit is going for finding a problem for a company, solving it for them, but having a platform play where then you can go after similar companies and solve that problem for them. And that's how you build a billion-dollar company.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So the low-hanging fruit are other companies developing other companies like yours, or or are you doing software as a service?
We're doing software as a service, and I think that's where the opportunity is. Because think of it, if I'm Nike, right, and I'm the chief data officer or the chief marketing officer or the CEO, but I was like, I want the best propensity model out there, and I'm going to go out and hire the best guys, right? And I'll do that. I'll hire 20, 30 people there, and I'm going to increase sales by 20, 30%. But I've increased my payroll by $1 million, but I'm making $20 million on the back end. That's good. That makes sense, right? However, there's going to be some other company that goes to all the competitors, their Tiger shoes, their Reeboks and all that, and deliver that as a service. They're going to increase their sales, perhaps not to 20 million, but 18 million each individually one, and they're going to be paying $300,000 each. And the platform provider is going to be generating $20 million of revenue. And even Nike at one moment is going to go like, wow, that tech is better than my tech. I'm going to fire my people. I'm going to now, pay, a quarter of that. So I think where the opportunity is if you're going to build a company, or you want to work in this, I think work for a company, but then think of the ability to then do a platform play. Does that answer? Did I explain it well? To a certain extent, yes.
I'll have to go over some of it because a lot of it goes in one ear and out the other. As probably
I know the feeling.
But I would follow up with another question, and that is, who are you going to hire? If in fact there is so much low-hanging fruit, and then you, of course, see that and grow, who would you be hiring, and what kind of skill set will they have? What kind of skills would they have? What kind of background will your new hires have?
Well, we're our company, and I say companies, maybe it's a Freudian slip because we just acquired a company in March, and we're the product now of 6 acquisitions / mergers, but the key New York team is in control. And we're looking for obviously smart engineers. Most of our engineering is done out of Russia as well as Slovakia. And we have a combination. Our culture is very engineering driven and product focused. And then we've got like our sales and customer success. So we build good technology, but we don't wait for our customers to find us. We go out and find them by creating thought leadership programs and evangelizing, for lack of a better word. And we as a company, we go through these spurts that we acquire companies with their know-how, and then we go out and hire the best salespeople, the best customer success people to deliver on our promise, because we're very focused on our personal churn. Like going back to my statement earlier, that like what publishers do is win customers, but what's more important is to retain customers. So we retain them with our licensing that could be in the hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars a year. So customers really, I'm not sure if people are familiar with the concept of Clayton Christensen that says that, companies hire you, right? They pay you for a service, but they're hiring you to do a job, jobs to be done. And we've thought about it like, why are people giving us money, right? And really why they're giving us money is we're allowing them to be successful with our technology. Like we go there and we go like, we're going to show an ROI. We need to understand what your vision is, because we're going to show you an ROI within 1 year. And if there's not a match there, your expectations, and we don't think we can deliver, we're going to say no. that, you know, we shouldn't be working together. Go out, find another vendor, do it home, hire your own people. And when you're ready to grow this company, we're ready to talk. So the low-hanging fruit and building the team, it's a combination of great engineering, but also great ability to win and retain a customer.
Very good. On the engineering side, can we talk at all about what neural network we're using, what some things under the hood?
Look, I've got a bonus track for you. With Sudha, I told her that, you know, I'm obviously on the commercial side and marketing of and engaging, but I suggested Sudha to actually have our lead data scientist to then explain exactly what is under the hood and how they do it. So if that, you know, Sudha still has that offer available, we can have a really deep dive on getting to the weeds on what our architecture looks like.
Billy, Sudha has a question for you.
Yes.
I have a data question. That's my favorite of how I got into, you know, from IoT or anything else, I bring it to data. So it's fascinating to see that as a data company who brought analytics and insights, you naturally gravitated towards this. So when you mentioned that when you talk to somebody like Nike or a big corporation which has their own customer data and they protect it, right? They don't want outsiders to do anything. It's very hard to hire data scientists and to have that learning internally. They are not going to be able to build this as efficiently as you because you have the knowledge in your company, right? But if they are going to give their data, then your models are going to be trained with their data, right?
Correct.
So companies usually in the past used to be very reluctant saying, you know, we will not host somewhere else. It has to be in our premise. Now with AI, it's not just the data, right? Because you get the learning from them. So now if you have one company who's your customer, you got the learning. Now you can go to their competition because you have the AI smarter about that internally. Do you see that question come up from any of your customers?
Yes, we used to have it before, like as a publisher, like, hey, I'm USA Today, which is one of our customers. Why am I going to allow you to analyze my data? It's not really share the data, but analyze my data because that's where the algorithm is being trained. To someone from, I don't know, Gannett. They ended up merging, by the way, but they were both our customers. They are both of our customers, right? And our argument was like, all we're doing is both of you guys benefit from it because it gets smarter. At the end of the day, we see that, you know, someone that buys Nike shoes, going back to the Nike example, is not an Adidas buyer. They could be casually, but they tend to be more loyal with it. However, the learnings of the algorithm can be applicable, but it's not like you're making your competition more successful. It's more like you're building more of a immediate direct engagement with your loyal user. And that's our argument. We're trying to find who your loyal users are. That's how we've addressed that. And it's never really been an issue since once we explain it to them. We're not sharing the data. They don't get to see what we do also, Sudha, is we get all the other Nikes, all the other newspaper groups, and we put them into the data pool to be analyzed. So it also gets influenced by other, you know, brands. So it's not specifically one over the other.
So I remember when I was in eBay, Bitly, the company which gives the URL shortener, right? They said, we have a program by which, you know, when anybody does a Bitly, we actually know where the click is translated. And so we would know the path of the customer. As eBay, we would know only till customer shares outside of eBay. Then we'll know when they come back. We won't know what happens. So they were basically saying, we'll track them into various social networks and we'll track that for you. And we will see for the same link whether people are looking at competition. So they were providing us an insight about our customer behavior from competition. So I'm just thinking there could be a whole business model here, not that you're going that route, to kind of become like a data intermediary, because now you have a knowledge of what a retail customer wants, or, you know, you could go very specific to a persona of a customer looking for shoes and say, I know what they do with Nike, with somebody else.
Yeah, I think to a certain we could do that, even though we do that in a soft way, because we've analyzed, we don't detect you as a user that has intent at the moment, but you as part of a cohort that behaves that way. We can do that because you're behaving a certain way, but we can't detect that, hey, she was navigating at the subscription, offer, right? And therefore she has a high likelihood. We don't do that, but in theory we can. And what we've recently done with LinkedIn is LinkedIn, if you're a premium member, what they will do is when Forbes puts or someone publishes, or Forbes puts a paywalled article, and if you're a LinkedIn premium member, but not a Forbes subscriber, you can get 5 tokens per month to access the premium content. And at some stage, because that's where we got like LinkedIn as a customer and we've got Forbes as a customer. So we have access to both, and we've got these special agreements. It's a new thing that we're trying, and they're agrees, because then what LinkedIn will do, shows value to their existing premium, also exposes great content from our premium publisher, and then even facilitate that it's been done for free, that then LinkedIn will go like, hey, this is your 6th article. How about buying us a Forbes membership? And then he'll pass on the payment flow to Forbes. And then Forbes will go like, wow, and the long-term future we think that LinkedIn wants to do, or at least in my opinion, is that at some stage they're going to go to Forbes and go like, you know what, you got to pay us $5 for every subscriber, but they're first validating the business model. But yes, you can do that to a certain extent, and we're thinking that publishers that have multiple properties can then use that experience, because Lonely Planet, and then they're navigating to the Points Guy. There's a correlation, 2 different brands, but they're owned by the same company, Red Ventures. And the user doesn't know it's owned by Red Ventures, but then they can unify that data. And they go, well, this person is really into the point system and looking at some credit cards, and they like to travel. Maybe I can give them an offer to become a subscriber or not.
This is amazing, but we are at the end of the hour. I could talk so much more. I'll take this conversation offline, Billy. We can follow up, because I have some thoughts on the whole business model. You guys are in a very sweet spot, and you've delivered on building your AI. This is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, should we wrap up? I want to make an announcement. Do I have a minute?
Yes. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Billy. I always love it when my students come back, especially as speakers, and I'll always learn something new. And I love how you've been so tenacious to go learn AI, and from where we met originally. So awesome.
Well, I had a good teacher, didn't I?
Thank you so much. Okay. I wanted to actually remind people of one thing, that we have today is the last day for the live lab. So we have this concept of live using no-code AI. So we did this session called the pre-class prep. So for those of you who are interested, I was surprised that 15 of you showed up at short notice and came for the live lab. So if you're looking into learning NLP from Sam Wigglesworth, she is top-notch expert in NLP. And those of you who have signed up, interested in this, must have got an email already from me this morning. Otherwise, here is the link. And in here, you can find, if you're new to NLP, you can get the webinar that you did and learn that for free. Or you have the link from the live lab prep that we did. So we basically set up IBM Watson as the no-code AI platform yesterday. And then the live lab NLP class begins tomorrow. So it will be, you learn. Tomorrow is the first class for 1 hour. Next Thursday is 1.5 hours live lab. Those 2 you should plan to attend, timing wise, commitment wise. After that, you can learn at your own pace if you want. It's 2 more classes. I hope to, if you're serious about it, you should sign up today, because registration will close tonight. And I know some of you have been talking to me offline. So if you want to, still have questions, you can talk to me or Sam. So ping me, and hopefully you'll sign up, and I'll see some of you there tomorrow. Thank you, Yash. That's my announcement. I'm done. And Yash has already shared the link for the no-code AI class that is coming up another week later. So I'm teaching that, and I'm going to be teaching data science, as in all the different models, right? When you say propensity model and you have to go work with a data scientist, you can't be this business person who does not know anything and give control to them because they're not going to, you don't have a common language, right? So my no code AI class is teaching data science in English, various different models. What does this mean? Where the future is going? What are the challenges and all that in English with no Python. And then we will actually go hands-on, go solve a real business problem, go through the entire data science sprint, starting from a business problem to an AI model using a no-code AI platform. So we're going to be using IBM Watson for the NLP class. We're going to use IBM Watson for my no-code AI class. And also I try to be very brand agnostic. So I'm going to show one more platform with Akio. And compare so that it's not just one platform. You'll learn a few more platforms on just to have a handle on the ecosystem. And then I was talking to one of my past students recently, and she was saying there are new job roles called citizen developers, the word for it, which are basically business people, product managers who are using no code AI platform, but are able to build solutions. And so it's some kind of automation and things you can do for your company, but it's all done with no code. And there's a whole bunch of jobs that's evolving. And she's like a product manager with a very senior product manager. And now she's, responsible for citizen developers. So it was very fascinating for me to know. And I thought I need to tell my students. So that's my announcement. So talk to me. If you're looking at the live lab NLP class for tomorrow, please sign up. If you have questions about any of that or the no code AI class, talk to me. Otherwise, we can wrap up, and back to you, Yash. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time. And this is our happy place to share, learn, and discuss. And we look forward to catch all of you at the next weekly bed.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Yash.
Thank you.
Sudha, thanks everybody.
Bye.